This might look like a meat curry, but it's not. It's using soy protein chunks in a curry known as Amritsari Nutri. Nutri means soy chunks, and Amritsar is a city in Punjab, northern India. This dish has a delicious, rich taste, and the soy chunks give it a great, interesting texture. Started, we're going to boil some water, add in a tea bag, and I like to use balsamic vinegar. This is going to give color, and the balsamic vinegar is going to give a little bit of flavor to our soy chunks. Also add in a bunch of salt and dump those in. The protein chunks come dehydrated, so we're going to need to boil them for about 7 to 10 minutes to get them rehydrated again, and also to give them a nice, lovely color with the tea bag and the balsamic vinegar. So while we're waiting for that, we can get our vegetables together, which are going to make up the base of our sauce. We've got 2 tomatoes, a jalapeno, 3 cloves of garlic, and 2 onions. So go ahead and just dice up the onions real quick. Press the garlic cloves. Slice up the pepper. I like to slice them from the top down, and that way we can get the ribs and seeds out of there. And then just dice that up. And dice up the tomato as well. And I added about 1.5 tablespoons of ginger paste. Now we're going to warm up your pot, and I'm using ghee for this recipe. And you can easily find ghee now in most grocery stores. Add in the onions and the jalapeno pepper, and add in some cumin seeds, bay leaf, a little bit more ghee, 2 cloves, black cardamom, and cinnamon, and just stir that up a bit. Add in our garlic and ginger paste and the tomato, stir that up. Oh yeah, and I forgot, let's add some green cardamom too to give it that nice, rich flavor that the cardamom adds. And stir that up and fry that up a little bit until the onions get a little bit brown. Then we're going to add in about a cup of tomato sauce, stir that all up, and then just let all that cook for 3 or 4 minutes. Add in about 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of coriander, about 3/4 of a teaspoon of cumin, and some Kashmiri chili pepper. I really like the Kashmiri chili pepper because it's not quite as spicy as like cayenne pepper, and it still gives that nice red color and chili flavor to the dish. Then we're going to cover and cook that for a few more minutes while we drain the water from our soy protein. You're going to make sure you let this cool, and then after you've let it cool a little bit, just go ahead and take it, squeeze the water out, and put the dried chunks in a separate bowl. Like I may have left the heat on the pot a little bit too high, but that's okay. Just stir it up a little bit, add some water, stir it up a little bit more, and then we're going to add in some spinach, which is going to add some more vegetables and some nice flavor and texture to our dish. And go ahead and cook and stir that up a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and let that simmer for another 3 to 5 minutes. Now we're going to let that cool a little bit and then put it into a blender and blend it up. That way it's going to grind up those spices that we had, and it's also going to give a nice smooth texture to the sauce for our dish. Add that back to the pot. And we're going to go ahead and add back in our soy chunks. But first, let's add a little bit of soy sauce for just that last little bit of extra seasoning. And I'm actually using tamari here to keep this dish gluten-free. Go ahead and mix that up, and then toss the soy chunks back in. Stir that all up and coat those soy chunks really well. And we're going to cook for another 5 minutes or so, just to let all of those flavors infuse together. Yes, now it's starting to look really good. Finish it off with salt to taste. I'm using about 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and kasuri methi, which is dried fenugreek leaves, and really gives it that flavor that you find in Indian restaurants. And finally, we're going to use about 1.5 teaspoons of garam masala, and this is one that I purchased from my local Indian store, and it is way better than what you find in the traditional grocery stores. If you need to add a little bit more water at the end just to make it the right consistency, go ahead and do that. I added a little bit of hot water here at the end, and I stirred it up, and it just came out amazing. If you're trying to cut back on your carbs, this recipe also goes great with my Indian cauliflower rice recipe. Hey, not bad.